as this short season wraps up, I have to say, it went to some amazing new places, and some familiar ones, too. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Voltron, episodes 5, 6, and 7. Now, like I said, this was a short season, but for this we're going to cover just the journey, tailing a comet, and the legend begins. That's just like the most awesome title, The Legend Begins, the 31st episode in the series. Either way, overall I'm still really impressed with this series, and before I get any farther I want to give it a rating, just point blank. Solid gold. The episodes in Season 2 wavered a little bit, but Season 3 has blown me away so far, especially the end of the season. So if you've been watching up till now, go watch them, because we're about to get into spoiler territory. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. Each episode built onto the next. So all in all, DreamWorks blew it out of the water this year. So I am wondering, what did you think of this? Do you feel that Voltron's doing a good return? Either way, let's get started right off the bat with episode 1. The Journey. And this is one of those episodes that you sit there and you go, yeah, the only reason they're doing this is because at some point they sat in the writer's room and they pitched an idea that was really more of a subplot, but they never quite found a way to fit it into the subplot, so it became its own episode. But it does something pretty cool. It gives us the timetable that the rest of the season takes place during. Shiro learns about the trick that Zarkon is playing in Hunted, which is episode 2. And then he goes and tries to intercept them at that planet, and then gets stuck in the ship for 7 days. So everything that's happened since then, and that pretty much picks up right where episode 1 left off. So for the most part, this entire season takes place over a week. And that's pretty cool, because it's 7 episodes as well. But at least I thought it was cool. What did you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. In the meantime, we're going to move it on and go to Episode 6, Tailing a Comet. We start off by taking a look at how the Voltron Force acts when they're not in their lions, and they're pretty badass. I like the way Alora has really stepped up her game, and we also get a good sense of how badass they are compared to regular Galra troops, which of course will pay off later. However, we also got to see in this episode something I'm not sure if we've seen before. Did we know parts of the lion could come off and be little vehicles that could run around? Oh well. Most of the episode focuses on them chasing the comet that Lotor had. Lotor is attacking a Galra base in order to get that piece of a ship that has access to the hyperdrives that the Castle of Lions uses. Even as the next episode starts, I'm not entirely sure why Lotor has to attack, and neither's the main team. However, we still are getting some growing pains as Keith is trying to come into his own as field leader, and what's going to happen now that Shiro's back. Lance has this whole pretty amazing moment of the episode where he says, hey, I just did the math. If I take this back, Alora loses hers, and she might be able to unlock new powers. She's learning faster than the rest of us did. Which totally shows to be the case, because Blue Lion's already right up there with the rest of them. But Black Lion doesn't respond to Shiro, and that makes sense. It's moved on. It's picked up its new paladin. There's no reason for it to go backwards, and we still don't know exactly what was happening with Shiro. Was Shiro being held by another group within the Galra Empire? All interesting thoughts. However, the big thing is the group I've been calling the Anti-Paladins, the Generals, show up at the end to fight the Voltron Force. Watching these guys fight is pretty amazing, to be honest. And I had this question a few days ago about whether or not one of them was a warg. Oh my god, not only is she a warg, she's a warg that can control other people. She takes control of the leader of the base and has him lower the shields and let them in. That is super scary level of control. Unless I'm really mistaken, this is also the first time that Lotor's plan didn't work out the way he wanted. because one of his generals was supposed to fly that ship and get them to get away with the piece of the hyperdrive, and she failed, and he even calls her on his failure. It's pretty amazing, because up till now he's been one step ahead of them the whole way. Either way, this all leads into the 7th episode that starts with Hagar with the king, and we finally find out how the legend began. Alright, so this almost entire episode is done through flashback, as Karan explains the origin of the lions. And I can't stress enough that I actually kind of feel bad for Zarkon, because for all the talk about him being pure evil, he fell for the worst fall of all. He fell for love. So Hagar was his wife, although I guess she didn't remember that after being resurrected. I'm not entirely sure how that worked, but both of them died and got resurrected, and now she's the leader of these druids that are using magic from another dimension. That's what this quintessence is. And I do wonder, we went into that mirror universe last time, but if each dimension is someplace a little different, and depending on where you are, depends on what opens up, means that there could be billions, or maybe infinite, other worlds out there with slightly different creatures. Now, that also then goes into another question. So, Hagar is Zarkon's wife, and Lotor is Zarkon's son. So, does that mean Hagar's his mother? Now, normally I'd be mad about a short season like this, only 7 episodes, that ends pretty much on a cliffhanger, because we don't know if Zarkon's going to wake up or not. Although from the coming attractions it appears he is not yet awake months later, and they're still doing the build the Empire and build the Alliance against Zarkon. And, I don't know, the fact that the next part of this is going to drop in October really softens that blow. So, overall, I loved this season. In fact, Voltron Legendary Defender might have been better in Season 3 than it was in Season 1 or 2. So overall, I'm giving this series a solid gold for Season 3. All of the characterizations were awesome. Each character had its own little mini arc. And you know what? The most important part was, it was interesting the whole time. The fact that they built up over 3 years to give us the origin of this Voltron, I think is pretty damn awesome. The only thing that I think could have been done a little bit better was the fact that at a few points Lotor felt a little bit like he had plot armor. But even that, once we finally saw him get his butt handed to him once, and his anti-paladins here have a change, I think that worked out rather well. And I do wonder if the cat that Nini has is the same cat we saw in the flashback. I think it is. But those were my thoughts on the season. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, because come October I'm going to want to talk about this again. And for now, if you could just give me a like and a share, I'd totally appreciate it. And you haven't already, then hit that subscribe button, because I'm trying to build a community that can talk about all sorts of stories, but especially Voltron, because I am definitely a lifelong fan. I hope you have a good day, and thank you for walking with me through the heart of the stories we tell.